getting hit multiple times coming out of that bike section. More drivers coming to blows.
Greetings, race fans, and buckle up for tonight's coverage of Sim Racers Group Formula 3 on SMB. JR Gregory here with you on the call alongside Dylan Coyle in the commentary booth and tonight's producer, Magic Mike Braun. And for week 6 of this Formula 3 season, we'll remain in Oceania and take the short hop from Oz to Japan and Suzuka International Raceway. Designed in 1962 as a Honda test track and including a rare figure 8, Suzuka has been home to the Japanese Grand Prix since 1987. Past host to a full slate of sports car, formula, and moto racing. Current host to F1 along with Super GT, Super Formula, Intercontinental GT Challenge, and the FIM. That's FIA, but for motorcycles, Endurance Championship. Today's config, 5.8 clicks, 3.6 miles, 18 corners. Record set by Sir Lewis Hamilton in 2019. That was a 1:30 .393, and I'll tell you the pluses for this track. We're taking 130R flat, and all these fast sweepers are a blast in these F3 cars. The minuses, getting the car woed up for that Kobayashi hairpin and the Casio triangle. So, Dylan, it is time to let these F3 cars off the leash a bit here in Japan and see what they can do with these medium to high speed sweepers that define Suzuka. So, what are you expecting out of these cars and drivers tonight?
Yeah, it's nice to be bringing some action from Suzuka tonight. Suzuka is one of those racetracks where you don't always have all of the on-track action as much as you have some absolutely gutsy drives. If we're looking back through the years in Formula One, probably the best drive, one of the best of all time here, happened for Kimi Räikkönen. Wasn't it, 2007, 2008? He came all the way back from last place, or at least last row on the grid, to end up winning the race. So it is possible to win from anywhere at Suzuka. One of the nicest racetracks from a driver's perspective. It is a fun circuit. I'm hoping we're going to see some good racing action with these cars that don't have as much aero disturbances coming out of behind, aka dirty air.
Yeah, absolutely, and really looking forward to seeing what these guys can do out here. And Dylan, I've heard this said a number of times. I've never been able to find it in writing to confirm it, but what I have heard rumbled is that this track was designed initially by Honda as a tire test / tire torture track. And in my own experience out here, tire wear definitely a thing out here. You're really, really grinding on those fronts, riding the understeer through a lot of these long, fast corners, and we have seen tire wear influence these F3 races down the stretch. So this could be an opportunity for folks who are good at tire management to, kind of hold something in reserve and light the wick down the stretch. And I'm hoping that we see a little bit of that out here as well.
That's a very funny way to describe this track, because it also is very accurate, right? You go through all of the S's right here in that first sector, and my goodness, it really puts a ton of heat, a ton of energy into both sides of the car. I mean, you got right here, the right sides, you're just screaming for dear mercy. Now let's throw it on the left sides. Right sides, you're going to have a little bit of a break, but it's only a small portion because you're right back on the throttle, and you're really throwing that car all the way through the Dunlop curve to both of the Degners. This is one of the most difficult sections to get right on this racetrack right here. You can easily get those left sides into the gravel, even to dip those right sides if you're trying to be a little bit aggressive into the gravel. Why not continue talking about this circuit right here as you go through this hairpin? Very wide. It is easy to both undercook and overcook if you are going in at a kind of a rate of speed where you're not quite sure how you want to take it. It's a little bit banked throughout that really wide stretch of circuit there, coming through the spoon curve here. Another really fun part of the track when you nail it, when you get it right. When you don't, you find yourself kind of just dipping those right sides out and almost getting into some of the barriers right out here. And then, of course, this needs no introduction, but it gets one anyway. 130R is just gorgeous. The radius of the turn is 130, and when you go through there side by side, one of you is going into the wall. Those final corners right there, the Casio triangle. The old name. Is it still that? I'm not quite sure if it still is what they call the Casio triangle, but that is part of a lap here at Suzuka.
I'm willing to call it the Casio Triangle here tonight. That's what I've been calling it. I've heard Casino Triangle, but who knows how old this map is that I stole from Wikipedia years ago when I first started doing this. But yeah, a really good preview of the track there, and you're absolutely right. There's a couple corners that can just make you feel like Ayrton Senna if you get them correct, and make you feel like Jimmy Johnson if you don't. And certainly that exit of Spoon is one of them. It's all about the timing, putting the power down so you can get a good run down that back stretch approaching 130 yard. And that one personally is one that I struggle to to get right consistently. And after hundreds of laps out here, every time I approach, I wonder if I'm going to do it right this time around. And it's certainly not a sure thing. But as qualifying winding down here, we've got about 2 minutes remaining in our 1 hour open qualifying. Got some of the usual suspects up top at his case, from Leslie from Velasco as the top three, then Mikovits and Max Lin-Lato, who is a new name to me, although I was not around last week. So it's good to see some fresh blood out here. There you have Edgar Lau, Green De Silva, Eggert, and Chris Wang to round out your top 10. So some pretty good looking lap times out here. I kind of like to take a look at the 1 second bracket. Looks like our top 10 cars, Dylan, here so far in this qualifying are bracketed by about 9/10. So looking forward to a very good race here. Very good couple of races here at Suzuka. Don't forget, folks, 2 races tonight on slow motion broadcasting, 15-minute sprint, which will set the order for a 25-minute feature. And also we will invert the top 6 of that starting grid for the feature. And we call that the Charles Bushell commemorative inverted top 6. So plenty of action here on SMB. Great cars, great group of drivers, and a great track. And I think we're going to have a good time out here tonight.
You know, it's funny that Max Lin-Lato was mentioned. Ooh, as Jose Navas goes for a little bit of a spin through that Casio Triangle section. Lin-Lato actually entered last night, so he races in F4 mostly, and he's one of the best drivers in F4, was comfortably in the lead in the rain, in the wet at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, or Barcelona, Catalunya. There we go. My apologies there. And had a little bit of a spin. Could not get that extra lap due to the time running out to try and make that pass back. He ended up finishing in second, but he's second in the championship, I believe, as qualifying does wrap up right now in SRG F3 action. But he is second in the championship in F4, so it's no surprise to see him coming over here and in his second start, it appears, making a good show in SRG F3.
Yeah, and not an easy transition between those two series. F4, no damage here. We've got damage on and 100 more horsepower in these F3 cars. But let's go ahead and give you that starting grid. Up front, it's going to be Stephen Case lined up next to Josh Leslie, then row 2, Velasco next to Mikovits. In 5 and 6, the aforementioned Lin-Lato next to Edgar Lau, then Jason Green next to Tyrone De Silva in 7 and 8. Chris Eggert will line up next to Chris Wang, which gets us to through the top 10, Dylan.
Continuing down the list with Adrian Lopez in 11th, Danush Paborji in 12th. Surprised to see him down that order. Jason Cotcher, 14th. Varun Bali in 14th with David Borden, Joshua Corwin, Jose Navas, Igor Grunsky, Jacob Guyton, and David Hirsch, your top 20.
All right, I'll pick up with P21. It's Cardenas next to Brashear in row 11. Posada will line up next to Dan Swanbeck in 23 and 24. Then it's Trantham next to Dylan and Lloyd Conway bringing up the rear there, and haven't seen him around in a while. Good to see Lloyd out here if he really is. He might have just stopped by for some practice, and some of these SRG folks will run practice with their mates and then not grid up for the race. But taking a look at Stephen Case right there, that is him in the 243 car in pole position. This is one of those tracks, Dylan, where the pole, although he's ahead by a nose, will have the outside entry into turn 1. So he's going to have to keep an eye on Leslie. These drivers know that if they want to crack at Case, oftentimes it's good to pounce early in heavy traffic. So we have seen Case attacked off the start, and Leslie is going to be sitting in a good position to do that. Velasco as well. Mikovits, a lot of fast drivers going to be following Case off the line here as we wait for iRacing to force the start. Leslie not on the grid. Leslie has missed the start. You see his car there in pit lane, and the lights are on. So not sure what is going on with that, but here we go. We're green at Suzuka. It's going to be a Case from Velasco from Mikovits here. Mikovits taking a little sniff down the inside of turn 1. Can he get something done here? Look at these cars streaming 2-3 wide through turn 1 to get this one underway on cold tires. And so far, so good here. And looks like a very clean start for Formula 3 at Suzuka.
Yeah, a very clean start. Easy for Stephen Case to pull off the line without any battling from alongside. Easily goes into turns 1, 2, and then the S's in P1. Alex Velasco, though, he is hot on his tails. And Michaelwitz, I'll tell you this, being in P3 right now, he's currently second in the championship, 24 points back of Stephen Case. He really needs to have a strong showing at the halfway point here in F3 action.
Yeah, Mikovits has come to play this time. He's always been a top 10 driver last season, and something clicking for Mikovits this season. He's been on the podium and usually threatening the front of the field here. And looks like we've got a little bit of technical struggles here originating in our production booth. We'll see if we can get that sorted out for you. I believe the timing, though, that you're seeing there is correct. So it's Case from Velasco from Mikovits, from Lynn Lato from Edgar Lau. And, yeah, those gaps. Yeah, Case doing a pretty good job here, Dylan. He's already got Velasco stretched out to a 1-second gap, and Velasco probably looking behind at Mikovits, and look at that gap beginning to drop. These F3 cars do get a little bit of draft. Mikovits will show his nose heading into the triangle there. Thinks better of it, though. Plenty of time, only 2 minutes left, and Mikovits sitting pretty to potentially move up. And on pole watch right now, we got Tyrone De Silva sitting in the sweet spot of P6. If he hangs on to that, that will convert into a pole in the feature. But we see a lot of action in the heat race around that P6 spot. We'll keep an eye on that for you as well.
Yeah, 100% as this heat race, well, things get intense, things get heated up, pun absolutely intended, in a quick manner right here. You already see so many drivers trying to go side by side through that turns 1 and 2 right-handed section. Everyone has seemingly made it stick. We haven't seen too many issues so far in this heat race through lap 1 and some change, so we'll see if that continues. Josh Corwin, though, is still down pit lane. Wonder what exactly happened to him right there, but this is kind of the appetizer before the main meal, right, as we see Corwin pulling out of pit lane, coming out of the commitment line right there, or I should say the pit exit line right there. But yeah, appetizer before the main plate once we do get to the feature race. That's 25 minutes in length later.
Yeah, and we'll see if I know Mike's fighting his rig a little bit right now. We'll see if we can figure out what happened to Corwin. It looks like he did have a meatball. Some kind of incident sent him into the pits for repairs. So Corwin now sitting in P25. That cost him 9. Leslie, it appears, may be back underway here, unless I'm not reading that timing tower correctly, but I'm showing him running currently in P22 after qualifying second. So not sure what happened with Josh. He's been putting together a great season, obviously put together great qualifying to qualify P2 with only Case in front of him. But Case still, oh my gosh, look at Case stretching that gap. Now he's got it up to about a minute, or a second and a half rather, with 10 minutes remaining in this one.
Yeah, no, this is quite intense. Look at that move down the inside. Jason Green getting into the top 5 right there, with a Tyrone De Silva battling him in 6th place right here. A bunch of drivers are right behind that buzzsaw right here, but the top 4, they've kind of broken away, and even so, Case has broken away a second and a half clear of Alex Velasco. But that podium battle, 3 drivers competing for the last 2 spots right now, it feels like.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you, my eye is kind of on that battle for P6 right now. It's De Silva leading Edgar Lau, leading Eggert, and leading Poborgi. And I got to say, we may have seen Poborgi gaming the inverted grid a little bit. We've seen him lingering around that P6 and making that work for him. He actually got a pole, I believe, in one of the races previously this season. So keeping my eye on that as well. De Silva leading a couple of very fast drivers there with pretty short intervals. Adrian Lopez sniffing around that group as well. And meanwhile, up front, of course, Stephen Case has extended that gap to 2 seconds. Velasco looking like the cork in the bottle. He's got Mikovits and Lynn Lato towed behind him with about half a second covering all 3 of those cars.
Yeah, 100%. And we'll see if this is... Oh, look at this real quick. Mikovits trying to hold off Alex Valera. I should say get by Alex Velasco, and does just that. So these drivers still battling it out right here. And I'll tell you what, Stephen Case is more than happy to see these three continuing to try and race side by side in the podium spots. Another try through the slipstream to the outside. What a sweeping move for Velasco there to take P2 back.
Yeah, Velasco making the outside work there into turn one. Totally doable, and you saw why right there. There's a little bit of banking at play right there. You try to cover the inside, and you lose a bunch of radius. That's kind of a long trail-breaking combo right there, and you saw Velasco get a much better drive taking that outside line, and now here comes Lynn Lotto, who's got about a half second ahead to Mikovits. So Mikovits may have been thinking about Stephen Case when the race started, but now he's got to chase down Velasco while holding off Lynn Lotto behind. So a lot of great action right now for the second spot on the podium.
Yeah, no, this is some awesome action right here. And even though we're not necessarily seeing a battle for the lead of this race, I wonder if with that top six invert, if it's going to be something similar for the leader of this race. Won't be able to probably, as long as P2 doesn't, you know, have an issue, have to go down pit lane to start. We're probably not going to, or we're probably going to see some battling going into turn one. But I do wonder if it's a case where top driver's able to get away pretty quickly, or will the cream rise to the top?
Yeah, and I'll tell you that this, if you were with us last season, you heard my previous partner, Charles Michel, and I debate this back and forth whether or not an inverted grid was going to help or hurt the racing here in Formula 3. And I got to say, I'm not going to name names who was right about how that turned out, but his initials are JR. But in any event, the inverted grid has been absolutely fantastic. And we talk about the points a little bit later. You're going to see that 10 drivers have shared the 15 podium positions in the 5 prior races. So it has made for some great racing, some great competition. Woo! And speaking of great competition, that looks like Mikovits trying to make something happen against Velasco right there. And apologies for our tech issues here, and we may pull a little reboot here between races, and so we will have an opportunity to do that. But about halfway through the first race, just a little over halfway, it is still Case from Velasco, from Mikovits, and Case pulling that gap further and further, now up to 3.5 seconds. So the action right now is for that P2. It's Velasco from Mikovits from Lynn Lotto, although they're spreading out a little bit there. And Tyrone De Silva still clinging to that P6, but he's got Eggert behind with plenty of time for Eggert to make his move onto the feature race podium.
Yeah, 100%. Max Lotto, I'll tell you what, has been really showing out tonight for not really doing any F3 action this season so far. I mean, Jared, when you aren't necessarily familiar with a driver, I'm shocked, right? Because you know everybody. I know you know everybody here. So Max Lotto coming in and just really showing what skills that driver of the number 12 machine has. It's quite impressive. We'll see if he's able to do anything once the feature race does start, because that's where most of the money is made.
Yeah, absolutely. And Lynn Lotto may not be too motivated to push forward right now. He's sitting in P4, which is going to be P3 on the next race grid if he maintains that position. But notably, Lynn Lotto, one of 2 drivers. It's he and Stephen Case who have broken through that 153 barrier. Case, the fast man on track with a 152.569. But Lotto just a couple of ticks behind, 152.8. So, amazed to see an F4 driver coming out here with the kind of pace to challenge Stephen Case, who has proven himself the master of these cars over a couple of seasons. So be very interesting to see how that second race unfolds, and whether or not Lynn Lotto is going to be a difficult target for Case to get by, because as it is right now, obviously Case will be starting in P6 with some work to do during that 25-minute feature.
Yeah, just a little bit. As we see, there's a lot of battling going on just outside the top 10 watching with Jason Cotcher, who is trying to catch up to David Borden while being chased down by Varun Bali. And this is a fun little trio of drivers here as we reach that final third of this heat race here. And by the way, the lap times here just under 2 minutes in length. That's something to take note of as we see this battle again for P2, the second step of the podium. Mikovits needs this, really does, more than Alex Velasco as well. He needs to try and get that gap down as much as possible, or at least lower the amount of damage that he's going to face from this heat race specifically. It won't be as much as the feature if this is the situation there, but, I mean, Case is already 24 points clear heading into tonight's events.
Yeah, 2 right, and obviously plenty of racing left in this season, sitting right now in, week 6, actually. The season is actually flying by. We're halfway through, and look at Mikovits kind of measuring up Velasco here, and I was about to say maybe he was waiting for a later lap, but no. Gets it side by side with Velasco, but again, Velasco getting a little better drive out of that 1-2 combination, using that outside line, and Mikovits unable to make something happen. He definitely had position there, had the inside side by side, but somehow Velasco one on the brakes and one on the grip, taking that wide line around turn 1, and very interesting, and we'll see if some of the other drivers try to employ that here in the feature. That outside move, definitely something you have to master to succeed here at Suzuka, because it's so easy to cover that inside line, Dylan, off of that pit straight.
Yeah, 100%. You know, when they're all kind of trying to weave down as well down that pit straight, it also kind of has this cascading effect, right? Where if you have drivers in lines of 3s, sometimes one driver will try and stay put, stay in line, not try and weave with the rest of the pack, because once they go side by side, they're both going to slow each other down, right? With that side draft, as they call it in NASCAR, in stock car racing. Get a little bit of that effect here. When you are side by side, it kind of slows you both down.
Yeah, 2 right, and taking a look at the timing and scoring right now, tip of the hat to Edgar Lau, who is also busted into the 152s, and Eggert busting into the 152s as well. So we got 4 or 5 drivers that have broken through that barrier as this one winds down. 2 minutes remaining here. This may be the white flag lap right here. We'll take a look, keep an eye on Bernie as Case goes through. It's very close. This may be the penultimate lap because Case has that gap ahead. And I did not see the white that time. So penultimate. Oh, white is waving, Mike is telling me. So here we go, white flag lap. And is Velasco going to be able to hang on there? And speaking of hanging on, now we've got Max Lin-Lotto trying to push through Mikovits here as they go side by side, entering the S's.
Yeah, would you look at this? If Max Lin-Lotto is able to get a podium, that would be a even more impressive way to announce his presence on the Wednesday night show in F3 action here. Like we were talking about, a lot more power than an F4 car, also has a lot more downforce aerodynamically, and at a track like Suzuka, where the best drivers typically do rise to the top, that is quite impressive. Look at this entire line of drivers who have all kind of climbed back into this battle here for the podium.
Yeah, things looking good there, and pole P6 pole watch. Christopher Eggert, I told you he was sniffing around behind De Silva and maybe biding his time to pounce on that P6 kind of consolation prize that would put him in pole position for the feature, and he has done it and has created a pretty good gap behind to De Silva. So Eggert, if he can complete this lap clean, is going to be your pole sitter as we take a look at him in that 222 car, the classic Valvoline IndyCar livery there. But meanwhile, Stephen Case has driven away as Case does. Look at that gap now. Gaudy, almost 6 seconds, which is a chunk of time, Dylan, after only a 15-minute sprint race or heat race rather. But yeah, here comes Case having won this one easily. And I got to say, with the kind of pace that Case has shown us here today, I like his chances to start from that P6, push his way through the field, and potentially win 2 in a row here at Suzuka.
Yeah, absolutely. Case was just flying that entire time, and big for Case to also have at least one car in between he and Mikovits in that P3 position he finishes in. But Case, of course, will go into 6th place to start out the feature race, with the pole sitter being Christopher Eggert for that one.
We'll have those results for you here in just a second. We've got some points for you as well. Unless, are we going to go nuclear here during the break, Mike? Okay. Folks, we are going to be offline. You'll see our placeholder card for a second. We're going to reboot here in the production carry. We'll be right back with you with your points and the second race of the night. So hang on. All righty. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. We have fed the hamsters. We have ceased our torrent that with a big CWD download, and hopefully that has resolved our problems. We are still during the break here waiting for the second race to get underway. And Mike, do you want to take a swing at our championship point standings? Is that a thing?
I can't believe you just saw our chief struggling with the tech, and then you're like, you know what? Wait a second. Let's throw some more tech at him.
Well, he said he was ready. I wanted to, get the testing underway. But anyway, there are your championship standings. Case from Mikovits, from Poborji, from Eggert, from Leslie is your top 5, and a lot of opportunity for movement right there. If you look, the top 8 there separated by less than 90 points with half the season remaining, and some drop weeks going to come into play down the stretch as well. 10 races count, 2 drops, I believe. But Stephen Case has shown his pace out here tonight. He's shown his pace in most of the races. He's got 3 wins under his belt so far and 1 P2 out of 5 races. And there is the result. Stephen Case with a fairly firm grip on P1, but Mikovits has come to play, as I said, and cannot be ruled out as we scroll through the rest of those. And dare I ask for team points? And yep, there they are in P1.
You didn't have to ask, man.
Yeah, team Ka-Wang there. That's Mikovits and Wang. The L10 Racing team is Case and Van Wagner. The Egg Den is Eggert and Borden. Green Duval there in P4 is well, I'm not even going to tell you. La Silva race team in P5 is Josh Leslie and Tyrone De Silva. I'll let you go through the rest of those. But the team standings have added a kind of fun extra competition to this field and added a fun twist. So glad they decided to do that. But here we go. Let's go ahead and run through the grid for the feature. We may have to fly through here. It's Eggert next to Green, Linlato next to Mikovits, Velasco next to Case De Silva, next to Poborji, Lopez next to Edgar Lau, gets you to top 10.
Continuing down, Jason Cotcher, Varun Bali. It's the same team. Igor Grunsky, Jose Navas, Christopher Wang, Rafael Cardenas, Dan Swanbeck, Thomas Brescher. It's not the same team. Jacob Guyton, Kulker and Dylan. That's your top 20.
All right, that will follow up with Josh Corwin next to David Borden, 21 and 22. Josh Leslie showing here in P23 next to David Hirsch in 24. Then Trantham next to Diego Posada and Lloyd Conway bringing up the rear. But I'm thinking that Trantham, Posada, and Conway are not present at all. But since they are listed on the grid, we're going to have to wait for iRacing to force the start here. How about right now? And Green has jumped the start. So did Lynn Lotto and Lau. We're going to have to see that again. A number of cars jumping that start. Their race is over before it even begins. Oh, my goodness. It is shocking the number of times that we've seen jump starts here in F3. Green means go, folks. Pro tip, don't step on the gas until you see the green laps. But holy cow, we're going to get some penalties out of that start. But anyway, for the time being, it is Eggert from Mikovits, from Stephen Case. That's right, Stephen Case. We're in turn 4, and Case has pushed his way from P6 all the way up to P3, and you see Eggert stepping out of the way for Mikovits there. That was obviously intentional. Not sure what's going on with that, and just like that, Mikovits, halfway through lap 1, has found himself in the lead.
One of those things, right, where, you just see everybody else starting to move, and then that's your green light right there. It's kind of like if you're ever stopped at a traffic light, and then you see one car start to inch forward ahead of you because they saw the green right turn arrow, but they're actually trying to go straight. Well, everyone starts moving a little bit, and sometimes you'll have a little bit of a fender bender. That's kind of what we saw happen in live time for the start of this race, but yeah, that's Jason Green and Max Linlato's race just over before it started. And Linlato, we were expecting to see him competing for the podium again. Just did not happen. Was not in the cards for him in this race, or at least right now. Who knows? Things can change in a jiffy here.
Oh, they sure can, but Lynn Lotto suffering a kind of a compound commentator's curse there. We gave him so much attention in the first race, and look at him now, and ooh, a nice little side-by-side 130R action. That was what I was looking forward to there as we take a look at Dylan dragging that inside tire, almost running into Borden, but stays out of him, and you see those flags there on our timing tower. Green and Lynn Lotto are pulling in to take their penalties for that false start. Varun Bali showing a meatball as well. Not sure what happened to Bali, but 3 cars now rolling through the pits. And of course, Green and Lynn Lotto were sitting in the top 5 in the start, and that is not the way they wanted this race to start. They are going to be DFL in it here shortly. And if you're not familiar with race abbreviations, that stands for definitely far from the lead. But up front, it is Mikovits from Eggert, from Stephen Case. They're driving away a little bit now from Danush Poborji. Case having dropped him to the tune of about 1.3.
You know, I just had to look up what that abbreviation was.
Definitely far from leading.
Yes, that's exactly why it's DFL and not, we're not talking about F squared L. No, it's just DFL.
Did you have anything else there, Dylan?
Yeah, now I got to look up a bunch of, is there an urban dictionary for iRacing and sim racing?
We have a proprietary SMB version of that, but if we showed you that, we would have to kill you. But anyway,
Understood.
back to racing action, right along with Stephen Case, looking ahead at Eggert from Mikovits, and Case sitting in the catbird seat right now. I've kind of predicted at the end of the heat that Case had the pace out here to quickly get to the front, but I didn't think this quickly, only 3 minutes in here. And it's, I've seen Case get twofers coming off of these long pit straights before. I'm not calling that as necessarily going to happen here, but Case definitely in the catbird seat and in control of this race from P3, even though it's Mikovits and Eggert ahead of him. I think the start has worked out exactly the way Case probably would have wanted. And you see Case there, that as these 3 drive away that gap back to Poborji, they put about an extra second on him. So Poborji is towing Velasco and De Silva and Adrian Lopez for P4, but these top 3 driving off right now.
Yeah, 100%. Driving off for sure. And again, not surprised, right? We saw the battling going on, especially from Mikovits in that first race. We saw the speed, the pace that Case had. We didn't really talk much about Christopher Eggert, who started this race on the pole after finishing in 6th in the last race. He was kind of at the tail of that end heat battling for a podium spot. So it is good to see that pace continue to be kept up by him in that two cubed machine. How about that? Got some NASCAR Hall of Fame sponsorship right there. I'm only around 40 minutes from that.
Yeah, and Eggert definitely sitting pretty right now. If he can hang with Mikovits and Case here, I like his chances to stay in the podium positions. Definitely get a pretty good tow in a couple of spots here at Suzuka. And I've had the opportunity to race with Chris Eggert. He was an enduro partner of mine at the Petit Le Mans last year, and he is a cool customer, always keeps it frosty, keeps it clean, and that may be all that he needs to do here, Dylan, to bring home a podium here tonight.
Yeah, that might be all he needs to do. But with all these, all 3 podium drivers right now, as close as they are, you have to imagine impact could happen at any moment. They are not giving each other that much space. Maybe half a car width or a car length, I should say, at certain points through the last half lap.
Yeah, 2 right, and oh my gosh, and Mikovits washing out a little bit right there, and so easy to do here at Suzuki. You got to be patient on the throttle. When you're getting pressure from behind, you're tempted to squeeze into that loud pedal a little prematurely, and that can make you suffer a little bit of understeer and wash out. You saw Mikovits going a little wide there, opening the door for Eggert, and now Eggert getting a little sloppy coming out of Degner, and Stephen K says, "Thank you very much. I'm going to take the around the outside here and see what kind of drive Eggert gets out of that Kobayashi hairpin." Looks like he's going to make that one, or Case rather, is going to make that one stick as they head down into spoon curves. And now Eggert's job is to hang on to Case and hang on to him for dear life. He needs that draft to maintain that gap behind Tipaborgi.
Yeah, once you get to a certain point back and you lose the slipstream, then it's almost lights out unless there's more battling going on in front. So huge moment here for Eggert to try and keep calm and keep right there with Stephen Case, who at this point, I think the points would then go in favor from the entire event to Mikovits if there is a first and second place in Mikovits's and Case's future here. Nonetheless, what a championship battle we're really shaping up halfway through this season.
Yeah, it has been fantastic, and Case has a pretty commanding lead, but I got to say the inverted grid has had the desired effect. It's mixed up the podium. The previous season, the same three folks were up top in about every race, and we've got a great mix of drivers who have gotten the opportunity to get those podium positions in the previous 5 rounds. So the inverted grid has been great, and Mikovits, as I said, has really showed up. Something has clicked for him this season, and he is right up there challenging for podium positions every race this season. So tip of the hat to him and his development. And, these folks are so tight and such a good community here for Sim Racers Group. I would bet you good money that Stephen Case has probably helped Mikovits get faster and created that competition for himself. And that's just the kind of sportsmanship that we enjoy here at Sim Racers Group. But taking a look now at Edgar Lau following Adrian Lopez and Tyrone De Silva. That's a battle for P6, and all 3 of those cars covered by about 1 second currently.
Yeah, these drivers right now are quite close, right? We talk about how close that drivers were in Heat 1, or at least the heat race, I should say. And we really didn't see the compactness happen in the top spots until late. Obviously, we've got some compactness right now in those podium positions all across, but both races have had really close racing action right inside the top 10. And look at that, Josh Corwin trying to make it stick, gets those left sides on the curbs through 130R, gets the move done. He gets by Jason Cotcher. Josh got by Jason. Oh, my goodness.
And Corwin looking good there and showing some stones going down the inside of 130R, and just that little smooch on the curb just to help him open up that corner a little bit, but that is a little risky. Get those tires up on the curb. It lifts that front wing up off the pavement and can lead to disaster. Corwin getting away with it there, though. And I'll tell you, if you're a GT3 driver like myself, particularly a 911 driver, that 130R experience can be heart-stopping on every lap, but not so in these F3 cars. They are absolutely flat. And as dramatic as that looked, probably pretty easy to make that work there side by side. This F3 car, an absolute joy to drive in, and this is a great car track combination that you're watching here tonight.
Oh, who went off track?
Somebody going for a little spin there. It looked like Jose Navas, and that is going to cost him. He had something going there. He was up 3 or 4 positions there, goes wide into the kitty litter out of Degner 2, and loses some of that hard work that he had gained. Let's see what happens there. Goes a little wide from the exit of Degner 1, unable to break. Yeah, that is a trap right there, Dylan. You go wide out of Degner 1 to widen that out, but tough to get on the binders and very bouncy and slick out there.
Yeah, 100%. These drivers are dealing with conditions that aren't necessarily. Oh wait, hold up. Oh, a little peek down the inside and a little lockup from Mikovits right there. Case did exactly what he wanted to do: put some pressure and put some worry into the heart and mind of Caleb Mikovits. And that's exactly what happened there. Stephen Case to the lead of this race.
Yeah, Stephen Case with 14 minutes remaining pulls a little peekaboo there into the triangle, makes Mikovits a little nervous, a little bit too much brake pressure there. You saw him drag that inside tire, and now he's got to worry about the temperature in that tire with Chris Eggert all over him. And he had been sitting in the lead, and now he's got to defend his P2 against Eggert. These top three cars still sticking together pretty well, about 6 or 7 tenths holding the top three together as they have driven off again from Poborgi, about 2.5 seconds back to the next train, which is Poborgi from Velasco, from Tyrone De Silva for P4. But some great racing up front. You knew that Case was going to make something happen there, and you knew that Mikovits had his eye on Case, driving in the rearview mirror a little bit. Case showing his nose there, all he needed to do to create that opening for himself. Great racecraft by Stephen Case.
Jacob Guyton has a moment into the gravel, not even actually, just had his right side dipped into the grass area right outside the curving and almost got absolutely splattered by the trio of cars behind him. Oh man, that could have been ugly.
Yeah, that Dunlop curve. If you've done laps at Suzuka, another very, very difficult spot. Takes a great deal of precision. You've just roasted the tires coming through the S's. You're threading the needle, trying to put the power down as early as possible as the car slides out towards that grass. And what you saw right there is what happens if the car slides out a little bit too far. You get a little swap ends there, and that one could have ended in the hospital, but the magical tow button prevented that as Guyton took the toe instead of getting speared, which seemed pretty inevitable as he sat across the track there in the middle of the Dunlop curve.
You know, did you just, by the way, as we're seeing almost getting right across into the space of Adrian Lopez's machine. That was quite hairy right there. We're hearing, by the way, Max Linlato has also wrecked this race, has gone from bad to worse for him. Unfortunate for how good that sprint race was for him. Just a little spin, loses a couple spots, gets back going. You missed the chance to really lean into that pun right there. You said the Dunlop curve, and if you've done laps at Suzuka, I feel like whenever you make a pun, you have to lean into it.
That's a very good point, but the pun would probably be more effective with a thick Eastern European accent. I would say, if you have done laps. Yeah? Yes? Da? But in any event, as things deteriorate rapidly here in the commentary booth, back to racing. There is Eggert chasing down Mikovits. That is a 0.5 gap ahead, and you know that Stephen Case is watching this unfold on his relative. Nothing he'd rather see than these two battling. Mikovits defending against Eggert as Case beginning to drive away. Eggert, well, look at that slipstream going to work as that gap drops into 130R. Eggert definitely lifted out of that one, but maybe kind of doing little experiments there, little timing, and figuring out if he can make something happen there in a later lap. 10 minutes remaining here, Dylan, and this is where we start talking about the tire witching hour, when there's about 5 to 10 minutes remaining. Those drivers who have overdriven these cars in the first part of the race, not taking care of their rubber, those drivers are going to be exposed here, and we'll keep an eye out for that, particularly in areas, low-speed corners, trying to put down the power, such as the Kobayashi hairpin, places with bad camber, like the exit of the spoon corners onto that back straightaway. So the tire witching hour, I'm going to get a bell, I think, sound effect to commemorate this and for future broadcasts. But the tire witching hour definitely underway, and there is no track that eats tires quite as enthusiastically as the one you're looking at right now, Suzuka.
You have time to go grab the bell if you need it. I can talk if you want to grab the bell.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Oh, goodness me. We are really reaching the final 9 minutes here at Suzuka. The gap between Case and Mikovits is not as large as you may have expected it to be versus what that sprint race was. But Eggert is still keeping hold of a potential P2 challenge as we go back to Tyrone De Silva, currently chasing down Alex Velasco, who had a really solid run last race in that heat race, the sprint race, heat race, interchangeable names right there. And now he's trying to get into the top 5.
Yeah, De Silva, man, these you can really watch if you look at that interval on our timing tower. Watch that interval dropping there. Quite significant slipstream in these F3 cars. That's one of a couple places where you can make something happen in the draft. So we'll stay with this one. De Silva looking ahead at Velasco in that 777. See if he can get something going down the pit straight. And I'll tell you, another trouble spot for a lot of people, myself included, is that exit of the Casio triangle. You have to hit that exactly right if you want to take advantage of the draft and make anything at all happen right there. And that time, Velasco getting a much better run out of that difficult Casio triangle complex, and De Silva not really able to make something happen. Here's a little side-by-side action. Speaking of that pit straight, that is Jose Navas looking, I believe, or no, that's Navas being passed by David Borden, taking advantage of the inside line there, getting him under braking. And as I said, that exit out of that Casio complex, it looks pretty straightforward, but so easy to get it wrong. You can easily lose half a second to a second on that pit straight if you blow that little blow that exit sequence.
Yeah, 100%. It's one of those pit straights that are they're devious, right? But you don't necessarily, they're deceitful, if you will. That's the word I was kind of going for there. That pit entry, it can really catch you out if you're not ready, if you have not practiced it previously, because you can gain you can gain a little bit of time. If you hit your marks right, you can lose all the time in the world and have to go another lap before getting back down there if you don't hit those marks right, as we're seeing a battle for 16th place, a close bit of action right here. You know, when you get down the order a bit, you start to see a lot more mistakes being made by drivers, going out wide, getting a little bit antsy, not necessarily hitting their marks as much as they want to, as much as the top drivers in this particular race are doing. So you always see a little bit of action. And speaking about action, De Silva decides to take away top 5 from Alex Velasco. We were talking about it. It was foretold in the SMB broadcast, and finally Velasco had to make way.
Yeah, we're going to get a replay look. Here they come through 130R, and little side-by-side action into the triangle here. That's De Silva taking the long way around the first part of that Casio triangle, and that is a hell of a move there. And tip of the hat to Velasco as well, cooperating with that. De Silva definitely had position on that outside turn in, and that could have ended in disaster if not for the good car control and kind of awareness of Velasco. So a beautiful move there, and great illustration of how well these drivers are able to drive safely out here together due to their experience with each other and trust in each other.
Yeah, 100% right. The more you drive with people, the more comfortable you're going to feel. By the way, I've said 100% 100 times more often than I should have to
100%.
start off everything I've said. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man.
100%.
Maybe I should just say 99%. 99%. Whatever. But when you have trust in the drivers you're racing around, that's built usually after a ton of racing against them. Christopher Eggert is going to hope for a little bit of trust, potentially, if Mikovits is going to defend down the inside through the Casio triangle. It's exactly what happens. Will Mikovits make it stick this time? Yes, he does. The last time there was a bit of a peekaboo there. Mikovits just overshot the corner and gave way to P1. I don't think it's going to be that easy this time, going down into turn 1, JR.
Yeah, Eggert getting the run there. We talked about that exit from the Casio Triangle. Eggert making it look easy, and that is all that exit out of the Casio Triangle. Eggert gets back through Mikovits, but Mikovits fighting back. They're going to be side by side heading into the S's briefly, but Mikovits thinks better of it, backs out of it, and again, the tire witching hour well underway here. About 3 minutes and change remaining in this one. These tires are tired. They are hot. They are begging for relief here, and the drivers are being as kind to them as they can. As Mike is agreeing with me by telling me what percent he thinks it is, and I'm not going to spoil it for you. I'm going to make you guess. But that battle between Mikovits and Eggert raging on here. Mikovits going to try the outside of the Kobayashi hairpin. Can he make the long way around work? Looks like he gets a pretty good drive. Still side by side heading down into the first turn of Spoon. And Mikovits may have a slight advantage here. Some great racing per P2 here down the stretch, and right now it is Kalen Mikovits in P2 leading Eggert about a 0.2 gap, and as we said, there's Stephen Case. If you forgot what his car looks like, there he is, and is completely driven off. 3.5 second gap back to this battle for P2.
Yeah, this is a Stephen Case domination kind of race here, and Mikovits just needs to really try and hold on to P2, but that battle might be extended outside the podium at the moment because Poborji is right there with just about 2 laps to go here.
Yeah, Poborji absolutely loving what he is seeing, this fighting in front of him. We'll take a look at the lap times as they roll through here and see what kind of advantage Poborji got. And Poborji got a full 1 second advantage out of Eggert's lap time that time around because of that fighting. So Poborji absolutely loving what's unfolding in front of him. He's got about a 1.2 second gap. Not a lot of time to do something with it. I think this is the penultimate lap right here. So he's got 2 laps to get involved in this if he can. But that gap's still dropping. You saw that interval turn yellow. That means we're under 1 second now. Poborji now has a 0.8 gap ahead to Eggert, and are Eggert's tires beginning to fade and beginning to fail him, and is Poborji going to be able to take advantage?
Well, we'll find out in the next lap and a half. I'll tell you what, he's going to have a double slipstream if he's able to continue closing in. Let's take a look at a replay right here. Edgar Lau. We've seen Lau get the elbows out just a little bit tonight, and almost into the gearbox, and oh my goodness, that front wing, I mean, the whole front assembly just exploded as he went off track. That was odd.
Yeah, you should not push that button, the nose ejector. Yeah. These F3 cars drive very poorly with no front wing.
Not the right active arrow.
Yeah, it's Mike Braun, our producer, is absolutely flagellating Dylan right now. You can't 100%. Hear it, but it is 100% quality going on here in the production carrier. But let's go back to this fight between Eggert and Mikovits here. That gap, you see it right now, 0.3, and keep an eye on that gap. You'll see who gets a better exit here onto that pit straight. And looks like Eggert has done pretty well. That gap is dropping down to 0.1. Mikovits will cover the inside, and will Eggert be able to make that long route work? We've seen it happen a couple times. Eggert flirting with the AstroTurf, loses grip out there, gets a little bit squirrely. Mikovits is going to hang on for now. Eggert just went a little wide there. He almost had that one, Dylan, but couldn't quite pull it off.
Yeah, no, could not pull that off. Final lap, as we have said, in this race, and Poborji's just right there too, right? These two go side by side. They make a mistake. It opens the door up for P2 to go to Poborji. Here's the thing. Eggert, I mean, he's not necessarily in the championship battle at the moment. Mikovits needs to hold on to second to have a good shot. Oh, way squirrely right there over that second Degner curve. That could have been race ending.
Yeah, it absolutely could have. That the AstroTurf on the exit right there is tempting, but if you play around with it, if there's a big bump right there, you cannot put the power down right there. It's getting a lot of spins happen, and Poborji cranking that gap down. And here's Eggert. He's going to make a move here, threatening. Eggert threatening around the outside of Spoon. Can he get a better angle and a better drive out of Spoon 2 here? And what is going to happen into 130R? Poborgy is certainly wondering if this one goes tragic. Poborgy will be there to pick up the pieces. He could drive right into P2 here. Side-by-side entry. That's Mikovits on the inside. Still side-by-side through 130R. Now Poborgy get involved. Poborgy in position to try the outside of the triangle, maybe. And Eggert manages to hang on. Eggert is going to grab that P2. And Poborgy was waiting, hoping for disaster to strike there. Not quite. Gets that gap down to about 2/10, but it is going to be case from Eggert, from Mikovits, and Poborgy. He was game. He was ready, but the ball didn't bounce his way that time. What a finish.
My favorite races are the ones where the battle right behind the leader, the battles are so good that you really can't talk about the leader at all because they've just blown everybody away. That was an awesome ending to the podium battle right there. And I'll tell you what, Mikovits is going to be kicking himself. 2 third places throughout the heat race, 2 the feature race, while Stephen Case gets the dub in both events.
Yeah, Case definitely making a case for a repeat championship here. I think it's going to be his 4th in a row, maybe. And I know I'm calling it early. This is only week 6, but you see the pace, you see the racecraft, and you see the mystique that he has with his fellow drivers. He just had to show Mikovits his nose there, and that was enough to force an error that put Case into P1. But as we're waiting for the rest of the field to get through, taking a look at Case now on his cool down, it appears. We've still got some cars cross the line. It looks like Dylan is going to be the last runner to cross the line. We have a couple of drivers that finished in the pits, Brashear and Guyton. You saw those incidents earlier on. What a fantastic race at Suzuka. I knew it was going to be fantastic. Fantastic track car combination, a great group of drivers, and another great race from Sim Racers Group Formula 3.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, my goodness.
Indubitably.
Indubitably. But in any event, yeah, we're going to have those results for you here in just a second. Our drivers are going to come around. Case, Eggert, and Mikovits are going to pose here at start-finish for you in SRG F3 traditional fashion and provide a photo opportunity for the folks there on pit lane and in the stands on the start-finish straight. And we're going to have those final results for you in a second as we take a look at that podium. And man, oh man, what an exciting finish. Some great driving by Eggert, Mikovits, and I'll tell you, Poborgy had a shot there. Thought that we might see him roll the dice. Poborgy not shy when he sees an opportunity, but did not quite feel that he had enough to make something happen. So comes across in P4, but a very good drive for Poborgy as well. So there are your final results in his case from Eggert, from Mikovits, from Poborgy, from Tyrone De Silva. Then it's Velasco, Lopez, Corwin, Igor Grunsky, and Josh Leslie clawing his way up from a missed start to P10.
Continuing down, Jason Cotcher in 11th with David Borden, Rafael Cardenas, Dan Swanbeck, David Hirsch, Christopher Wang, Edgar Lau, Varen Bali. Your top 18. I feel like I'm being... there was a cruel joke being played on me right there. Jason Green, Jose Navas, your top 20.
All right, and the unfortunate recipient of kind of a cumulative commentator's curse, we piled on Lynn Lato there, and you saw the wheels fall off of his race, landing him in P21 when it certainly looked like he had a crack at a podium. Then it's Diego Posada, Colcaron Dillon, Thomas Brashear, Jacob Guyton. You saw him take a tow there in sportsmanlike fashion instead of ruining anyone else's race after his spin in Dunlop Curb. Then Trantham and Conway finishing 14 laps back in, or actually they didn't take the start, did they? Nope. That is Guyton in 25 and last.
And last is just so sad.
And I'm not even really sure why I said that. Sometimes, as an announcer, my mouth just goes because it can't stand silence, and plus, I love the sound of my own voice. But in any event, let's take a look. Looks like we have Adrian Lopez is come and gone.
Hey, but Christopher Eggert.
Yeah, let's go ahead and bring in Chris Eggert. And Chris, how's it going? Welcome to the booth and some fantastic action. You could probably guess that you got quite a bit of coverage down the stretch there. Fantastic fight with Mikovits there for P2 with Poborji kind of sniffing the blood in the water and applying pressure from behind. So talk to us a little bit about those last handful of laps battling Mikovits and just for my own curiosity, how are your tires doing down the stretch in this one?
My tires at the end were actually doing really well because I just kind of got behind Steven and Kalen at the start and just kind of coasted for the first probably 10 to 15 minutes. So I saved a lot of tire there, which has helped me at the end. The battle at the end fell into my lap perfectly. I think Kalen made a mistake at one point, and at that point, you have to go for the move down into turn one. I got past him, and then he fought me back because he was quicker. He got by me because I think I then made a mistake, and that put Danush like a second behind us, closing in and put pressure on, and it perfectly timed up to be with the last 50 seconds and come down to the white flag. So that was a lot of fun, a lot of good action there at the end.
Yeah, it was fantastic stuff. And the fight between you and Mikovits allowed Poborji to take about a second out of you leading into the last 3 or 4 laps and leading to that phenomenal finish. And I'll tell you, when you guys were heading into Casio Triangle for the last time, I really thought Poborji was going to roll the dice on that one. I think he might have had a small opening on the outside, but he thought better of it and hung on to that P4 and let the two of you hang on to the P2 and P3. So fantastic driving. Congrats on that. And I guess it all started with that P6 in the heat, which put you on pole.
Yeah, so I did not practice very much going into this, which was obviously not great. Started towards the back half, a little bit farther back than I wanted, but yeah, making up spots, just being consistent. I think only had like 1 or 2x in the first race. So yeah, just steadily move forward and try not to make mistakes.
And I'll say you're definitely in the catbird seat, being able to drive with Case and with Kalen there. You're able to hang with them and kind of take advantage of their draft and drive away from Poborji for most of the race until the end there. And oh my gosh, we're
drafting behind them. They gave me like 3 to 5 tenths. They were flying.
Yeah. So you're well placed there, and oh my gosh, we're showing super slow mo of that last contested entry into Casio Triangle on the white flag lap while we're talking to you. So make sure you watch enough of the broadcast to see that. It's absolutely awesome camera work from our producer Mike. But anyway, again, congratulations, Chris, on a fantastic P2 out here. And as we wrap up, is there anyone you would like to thank or give a shout out to today?
Just the SRG crew, and then all the people watching, and then you guys for putting on the show every week. I mean, it's night in and night out with you guys, and you guys put on a great show. We try to put on some good action and hope that we deliver each week. Without last week we had a couple incidents, was a little rough, but we try to stay away from that and give you guys good action to broadcast.
Yeah, too right, man. And a good partnership here between Slow Motion Broadcasting and SRG. And we appreciate the kind words and appreciate working with y'all. So thanks for stopping by and chatting with us, Chris. And we will see you next week.
See you next week.
All right. Cheers. All right, Dylan, why don't you check in with Adrian Lopez here real quickly?
Yeah, Adrian, how you doing today?
Hey guys, I'm good. A little sweaty from that one, but I'm good.
Just it's funny because I feel like we mentioned you a few times during the broadcast, but where you finished in terms of traffic around you is not indicative of how your race went, right? You had like 4 seconds of a gap in front of you and behind you with your 7th place finish, but it didn't come easily, did it?
No. I mean, honestly, I wish I won this one. I've won it once before when Steven had a slight slip up and crashed, but I had no luck of that today. And I had to fight my way through. Yeah, all the way from qualifying. Qualifying was a struggle. I pitted like 3-4 times for new tires because I wanted to be as optimal as I possibly could at all times, just to get like an 11th place quality from that. And then after that was just stay on the outside, turn one, fit into place during the S's, and then make your moves on the straight after that for the sprint. Luckily, that helped a bit. Tried to get past Danush, but he's pretty damn fast, so that was hard. And during the race, it was just a little bit of a back and forth with Edgar, which was fun. I usually don't get to battle Edgar, but he made me work for it. He passed, I passed, he passed, I passed, and that and managing the tires on top of all of it on this track is a nightmare with how hot it was getting on this track.
Yeah, it definitely, because it was the morning, a morning start time, the heat in the track started really rising as this race went on. So, what were what were the tires? Were they whispering or screaming anything to you by the final lap?
They started to whisper by lap 8, and then after that was just a balancing act. Trying to do a late apex during the S's and coast a little bit more through the S's. Right after the S's, that uphill left-hander, try to dive as far to the right before you start that turn, so you're not stressing out the tires going uphill, because then you're picking up acceleration. Just little things like that, and do your best not to brake as late as possible during the hairpin, because you're probably going to lock up and you're just going to make things worse for you. So brake a little earlier there and just keep it consistent with that, and that'll help with the tires. So I didn't have to do a whole lot of counter steering, a couple times here and there where it wanted to escape me, but a little bit of just feather foot, feather hands, and that kind of just helped out. But with the temperature also, like you said, like rising throughout the entire day, that was a nightmare. And then I've got my teammate in front of me, I've got Edgar behind me, I've got Tyrone also in the mix, and these guys are fast, so a lot of mental mental workload that you have to go through.
Yeah, it's one of those racetracks where you can prepare as much beforehand, but it's gonna be a quite the difficult show once you get late in the race and you're thinking about trying to hold on to a spot or catch the drivers in front of you. All right, Adrian, gonna give you a chance to give shout outs to who you'd like to shout out, and we'll let you go.
Well, shout out for my teammate Alex. We finished right next to each other, which was awesome. I usually don't get to be that far up ahead with him, so yay, Alex. And shout out to Edgar for a respectful race. A lot of fun battling him, a little bit of car touching here and there, but super respectful. I dig it, and that's what I like to see from the community. Even though we've grown so much, the quality is still pretty good. So shout out to him as well.
All right, Adrian. Hey, congratulations on that 7th place finish, and we will see you for next week's race.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
All right, JR.
All right, that was Adrian Lopez up 2 in P7, and I think we have one more person hanging around to talk to us, and that is Igor Grunsky. Igor, welcome to the commentary booth. You broke into the top 10 there in the feature race, moving up 4 from your qualifying position. So pretty solid drive from you. We got through the whole race, and I never really realized what was happening with the track temp. I see it now, though, well over 100. So these cars must have been a handful down the stretch in terms of heating the tires and tire wear. So talk to us about that a little bit.
Oh yeah, for sure. Thank you guys for having me. Yeah, I'm super happy with the results. I usually don't end up in top 10. And yeah, like it was pretty intense race with temperatures climbing up and only make it worse. I think last 2, maybe 3 laps, I was like on the edge. I was kind of sweating and like trying to keep the car, and it would just get worse and worse. So yeah, I think I was maybe 0.7 in front of Jason Cotcher, and he was kind of catching up on me every lap, and there's like a couple laps left. So yeah, I was really stressing out those couple laps. I'm glad I was able to keep it together and finish in the 9th. So yeah, super happy overall.
Yeah, good. Well, very good drive. And as we're talking to you, we're replaying a super slow-mo of your car kind of drifting there through Casio Triangle with Cotcher right behind. So that may have been when you're feeling the tires going away and getting the pressure from him. But excellent drive. And let's see, where are... Take a quick look here at my notes. And it looks like we're going to Barcelona next time. Another potential high tire wear circuit and potential for high temperatures there as well. So have you had a chance to put down any laps yet at Barcelona? And do you have any thoughts about that one for next week?
I think it's been quite some time since, last time driving there. So yeah, I would have to catch up and, remember and then try to keep, the tire management under control. So yeah, I mean, it's familiar track for sure, but it's always kind of going back to basics and remembering all the like tricks and things not to do there. Yeah, so I'm super happy. Hopefully with the amount of conditions, we are racing at like a high 90s, sometimes in the hundreds even. This kind of helps with the skill, and like the more you do, the more comfortable you become. So this was definitely one of those cases where like, hey, this is how you drive in that conditions. So yeah, at least more optimistic, coming prepared than just completely out. And we probably shouldn't complain in F3. We don't have rain and wet conditions, so that's already like a big advantage. I can imagine how it is to drive F3 in wet, and it'll be probably separate entertainment. But yeah, hopefully everything will launch it sooner or later.
Yeah. All right. Well, so Igor, feeling optimistic and about the hot track experience here and how that might help him out in Barcelona. So sounds good, Igor, and congratulations again on pushing into the top 10. Fantastic drive. And as we conclude, is there anyone you would like to thank or give a shout out to tonight?
Yeah, thank you guys for covering, and thank you for the community. I mean, I keep coming back every time, and it's just amazing. And some of the changes and adjustments we did this season to keep racing more clean, I think it's paying off. It was actually a pretty clean race. I haven't got a chance to look into the overall, but I didn't see any major incidents or kind of like a massacre as it sometimes happens in the first lap, first corner. Yeah, so super happy to be in the group, and kudos to Jason and all the folks who race alongside.
Yeah, I think you're right about the stewarding. Is definitely a lot tidier this season than it was last season. So probably a pretty good adjustment. Okay, Igor, thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you on the track next week in Barcelona.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you, guys.
Okay, cheers. All righty. Well, folks, we are not just about these fantastic open wheelers here on Slow Motion Broadcasting, and I want you to go ahead and subscribe to SMB. Hit that notification icon so that you don't miss any of the upcoming action. And speaking of action, this Saturday, Weekend Warrior Formula Vs will battle down under at Phillip Island. Then Sunday, XSLR will feature GT3 action from Road Atlanta. Next Tuesday, AMS will bring their FR 500S Mustangs to Ontario, Canada, and SRG F4 will battle at Rudskingen. And as I said, SRG F3 1 week from tonight heads to Spain and Barcelona, and I think we can anticipate another excellent race out of this group next Wednesday night. So I am JR Gregory. On behalf of myself, my partner Dylan Coyle, our producer Magic Mike Braun, and everyone here at SMB, thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are, and hang in there, baby. Friday's coming.